Greetings, Panda. At last we meet. Oh, no. We meet at last.
This is Lord Shen. Did you know that Lord Shen, the elegant yet deadly peacock from Kung Fu Panda 2, was inspired by both Shakespearean tragedy and ancient Chinese weaponry? From his intricate design to the tense voice performance by Gary Oldman, let's discover how DreamWorks crafted one of the most complex and unforgettable villains in animation history. My name is Caleb and welcome to the Villain Forge. Before we begin, as usual, I'm a self-taught artist and I'm constantly learning how to draw. So what I do is I draw the character I'm talking about and see if I can do justice to it. If that's fine with you, then let's begin. Now, where should I even start? Alright, let's go back to 2008, when DreamWorks released the first martial arts comedy film titled Kung Fu Panda, which grossed around $60 million in its opening weekend and performed much better than most analysts were expecting, as it received praises from the audience of all ages, myself included because I was young during that time period, so it was inevitable for DreamWorks not to make the sequel. Lucky enough, DreamWorks already had plans to make a sequel for Kung Fu Panda, with the subtitle called Pandemonium, which was changed in 2010 to Kaboom of Doom, which was also scrapped and just settled with Kung Fu Panda 2. So, they hired Jennifer Yu Nelson, who was head of story in the first film, to replace John Stevenson and Mark Osborne as director, when it became obvious that the two co-directors are not interested in returning to the new project. However, we'll talk about Jennifer Yu Nelson in a minute. Now, they brought back Jonathan Ibel and Glenn Berger, who wrote the screenplay of the first film, to reprise their role in this project. This talented duo of writers also worked on Monsters vs. Aliens, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and Trolls, just to mention a few. However, this duo is best known for writing the Kung Fu Panda movies, but for this project, they consulted a legend by the name of Charlie Kaufman on the screenplay early in the developmental process. Now, after releasing the first film, DreamWorks CEO by the name of Jeffrey Katzenberg and director Nelson and the other DreamWorks members who are working at this new project visited Chengdu, a city in China known for being the panda hometown, to learn about the local culture, and pandas of course. And Mr. Katzenberg stated in interviews that the sequel incorporated many elements from Chengdu in the film. But how did Jonathan Ibel and Glenn Berger write the character, Lord Shen? Because they also went to China too. However, in an interview they did in 2011, they stated that it was both fate and luck. Because the way it happened was that they started looking on characters from the first film which did not make it on screen to look for inspiration, and one of them was a peacock, which they used and expanded upon it. What do I mean by that? The first villain was Tai Lung and was more of a physical threat to Po, but when it came to this character, he was made to be a mental threat. However, he was also a skilled Kung Fu master who had pride and greed, of which motivated him to make canons, which he thought was better than Kung Fu, combined with his merciless motives. And the writers kind of expanded from there. As we established, the peacock character was not used in the first film. However, it was designed by a French-American animator and character designer employed by DreamWorks Animation by the name of Nicolas Marlet. In fact, he character designed all the Kung Fu Panda characters, and his talent is hard to ignore. So the way he approached the design of the peacock was quite unique, which was fun for me to study.
For me, a peacock is it's not the typical bad guy, and it took me a while to. But in the end, I think it's one of my favorite characters.
Although I couldn't find enough interviews of him talking about the character, but just looking at the concept sketches or blueprint, you can tell how much attention to detail he really put in. From the way he sketched the movements of the character, facial expressions, and the physical appearance was mind-blowing to me. Because just looking at a real-life peacock, it looks innocent, less threatening and marvelous to look at. Then transformed by widening the eyes, giving a long mustache and eyebrows, wearing a white robe with a colored belt. According to Shen, the robe was made from the finest silk in the province.
How dare you! That is the finest silk in the province!
With silver sewed in patterns with flame-like designs, and a bird, possibly a peacock, placed on the back. And lastly was given metal talons that served to protect his feet and act as formidable weapons. By the way, it is believed that Lord Shen's tail consists of 92 feathers, and he was white in color, different from his parents. So Marlet's designs earned him an Annie Award for Best Character Design for Kung Fu Panda, the first film. Now, they brought in a legend by the name of Gary Oldman to voice Lord Shen. He is known for his versatility and intense acting style, which has earned him various accolades including an Academy Award, Golden Globe, and 3 British Academy Awards. His films collectively have grossed over $11 billion worldwide. So Gary Oldman's voice brought Lord Shen to life with a blend of sophistication and insanity.
Find this panda and bring him to me. Find this panda and bring him to me. Find this panda and
His ability to convey Shen's deep-seated fears and ambitions added layers to the character, making him more than just a villain. His performance was integral to make Shen's malevolence feel personal and poignant.
It can be a rather nasty peacock.
Now, storyboarding Shen's scenes was a meticulous process. The storyboard artist aimed to showcase Shen's strategic mind and ruthless efficiency. His scenes were carefully crafted to highlight his calculated motives and the destructive power of his firework. However, when it came to the animation, it was a different story. As revealed by the director, Shen was incredibly difficult to animate, which was compared to animating 6 characters at once. So the animators used stereoscopic 3D technology, which was known as in true 3D, to animate and produce Kung Fu Panda 2. However, I was hooked on how the animators managed to make all the facial expressions on Shen's small face with less room for it to be possible, you know? The animation team ensured that Shen's battle scenes were both visually stunning and emotionally impactful. Overall, the animation team's dedication made him a visually stunning antagonist who was hard to forget. Coming back to the film's director by the name of Jennifer Yu Nelson, she's a story artist, character designer, television director, illustrator, and film director. She's been widely recognized as a commercially successful Asian American director. So when it came to Lord Shen, she wanted him to be more threatening, a villain that is more intellectually smarter, devious, and some skill that goes against what Paul has learned.
He's a white peacock after all. It's not that much of a threat, but he is far faster. He's got weapons all over the place, and he's just really, really sinister and scary in his own way.
In other words, who has the means to trumping that, and has no problem in slaughtering anyone who opposes him. However, he doesn't murder the soothsayer, despite her clearly opposing him, which shows that he is capable of caring. Director Nelson envisioned Lord Shen as a tragic figure whose pursuit for power leads to his downfall. She wanted to create a villain with depth whose motives were rooted in fear and desire for control. Her direction ensured that Shen's story was one of personal tragedy as much as it was of villainy, adding a layer of complexity to the character. And this film made her the highest grossing film directed by a female until it was topped by Disney's Frozen. Finally, Lord Shen's impact in animation and storytelling is profound. He set a new standard for animated villains with his blend of elegance, complexity, and menace. His character has inspired discussions and analysis, cementing his place as one of DreamWorks' most memorable antagonists. Thank you for joining me in exploring the making of Lord Shen. Make sure to like or comment if I left out something, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite characters. See you in the next one.